Ocean on the shore, relentless in the war. The legions in our hearts, shed waters in our balls. The spirit and the flesh, the emotions that arrest. The cerebral will contest, propelling the unrest. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded. The teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Cause I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. With the semblance of a blaze, with gratitude and rage, we touch another page with delirious delight, impervious to light. This vitality and might encourages the flight. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand. Stand up, make we burn Babylon. Cause I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, the world to you. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Upward 'em up. Let's get a quick sound check. This is a live broadcast, so we got to start with a sound check. Give me a 1 if you hear the microphone. That'll be my microphone. I know you guys heard the song. I can tell you guys are feeling the song. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But let's get a quick 1 on the chat, in the chat, if you can hear my voice. Kwasi. Is it Kwasi? Kwasi. Says 1. What's the name of the song? The name of the song is called Battle Within. It's not recorded yet, okay? Battle Within is, well, what I mean is not recorded yet. It's not out there yet, okay? So you guys that are coming in the chat, coming in the early beginning stages of what is my channel, we'll be getting these little tidbits behind the scenes, okay? You're getting the rookie cards, the rookie baseball cards, because at some point, the price ain't coming down. What is up? Conscious Nye, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. K Coaching. Shout out to Nicer, shout out to Hope Love, Short Copy, shout out to everybody in the chat. Today, we're talking about persuasion, okay? Today, we're talking about persuasion. And we're going to be hopping right into it, okay? We're going to be hopping right into it because I believe someone asked me in one of my live streams, of which I believe this is only the 3rd or 4th live stream that I'm doing on this channel. Someone asked if I can talk about sales. Generally speaking, I talk about how to be a better persuader and influencer of other people. And it all starts with yourself, right? So it all comes back to yourself. And then we talk about mastery of subjective consciousness. I'm always talking about the FIT word, F-I-T, meaning feeling, image, and talk. So image and talk in the head and then feeling in the body. How do you master that? How do you go through life being able to gauge, create a dashboard? We talk about systems. We talked about in one of our streams. Yes, that was you. I remember. Yeah, Kwasi was the one that asked. Okay, so you're here, and today we're gonna take a slightly deeper dive into the beginnings of this persuasion game. Now, anybody who knows anything about persuasion, influencing, conflict resolution, communication in general, we know that it is very, very broad, right? It's a very broad topic. But today I would like to break it down to a simple level, ha ha ha, by talking about simplicity. Okay? And as we usually do in this stream, you know what? Someone's asking if I have a Cash App, and I'm usually hesitant to kind of do stuff like that. But since you asked, and since you're willing to, well, since you see value in what's going on over here, I definitely think it's valuable. Okay, I definitely think it's valuable. All right. I definitely think it is valuable. All right. So that's my Cash App, there, and moderators, of which Nicer is in the building. As we go along, don't forget to drop the links to the SoundCloud where people can go ahead and check out the music. And also, I just dropped the Cash App in the chat. And that's Ike D. Ogiamian. All right. And you should, well, I don't have a picture on there, but there ain't no other Ike D. Ogiamians, I believe. Okay. And as a matter of fact, why don't we do this live? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a picture, okay, in my Cash App right now of myself so you know it's me. And do a salute. There you go. 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 Alvin Davis, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you guys. We're just easing into this, letting people come in as we, okay, open up the floor to the topic. The topic today, my hypothesis today, and to those of you whom have either been live for these streams or have seen the replays, you know that basically, and thank you very much, K Coaching, thank you very much. You know that basically what I do here is I say I do is I have a hypothesis. I have a claim, just in one sentence, and then I say, well, let's try to beat it down. Let's go through the scientific process. Let's see if the claim itself flows logically in the sense of, right, do the premises make sense? Are the premises coherent? And then does the conclusion flow from the premises? Okay, that's just the logic aspect. And then there's the evidence aspect. We'll draw from anecdotal evidence, we'll draw from intuitive evidence, we'll draw from maybe facts and data and statistics, so on and so forth, in order to buttress and to demonstrate the validity of whatever hypothesis I'm going to be talking about with each stream. Today, the hypothesis is that simplicity is the master key to all communication. Okay, simplicity is the master key. In other words, the more simple it is, the better it is always. In other words, you can never go wrong moving closer and closer to a simplicity. You can never go wrong going closer and closer to simplicity when it comes to influencing, persuasion, selling, conflict resolution, whatever it may be. Okay? Now, let me get a one in the chat if at least the thesis statement is clear. Is the thesis statement clear? Being that basically you can never go wrong moving closer and closer to simplicity. And that simplicity is the master key. Simplicity is the master key when it comes to persuasion. Good, good. I'm seeing ones in the chat. That's a good thing. All right. So I'm building this as I'm flying it over here. And I'm glad you guys are here to help me out.
with the sound checks, with the responses, so on and so forth. All right. Now, as usual, I'm gonna be doing some writing here. I got my trusty easel. Gotta upgrade this easel. It's an easel I got a long time ago at a garage sale, as a matter of fact. And this easel has served me over 10 years. Use it to draw. I put my small whiteboard on it. I do all kinds of things with this easel. But I'm gonna be upgrading it pretty soon. But I'll probably take this one to the garage and use it for some other things because it's a nice, sturdy metal easel. Now, the question is, why does simplicity work? But before we get to that question, I would like to just talk about some evidence that's out there in the culture regarding what we have already seen, okay? What we've already seen in people that are trying to influence us, marketers, advertisers, salespeople, politicians, right? We've already seen certain things that demonstrate the fact that simplicity is the key to persuasion based on what these people do. Okay? Shout out to Jessica X in the building. Based on what these people do, we have already seen that simplicity is the key. And then we're going to go down the line in terms of the logical progression and then the evidence and arguing things out. And we'll go into a particular case where we're talking about sales. We're going to use sales from a prospecting point of view, from a fact finding point of view, and from a point of view of closing the deal vis-a-vis simplicity. Okay? Now, what are the things we've already seen? We've already seen simple slogans, for example. Okay? Nokia, connecting people. Pa-da-pa-pa-pa, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Right? Make America great again. Right? Simple, 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 simple. Okay? You get a one in the chat if you understand what I mean, or if you guys have already noticed that the people who try to influence you, the people who try to get your attention, politicians, marketers, so on and so forth, in the commercial space or in the political space, go for simplicity. The simpler, the better, right? The simpler, the better. Okay. Now, this obviously does not demonstrate my claim. It only just gives us some kind of idea of what we're talking about here. And it lets us understand from an intuitive level, okay, that makes sense. There's a reason why, Don Draper and the like, this is for madmen, why people in Madison Avenue get paid this big bucks, okay, to come up with these simple messages. I really like the one from Southwest, Want to Get Away. I really like that one. Okay, simple, simple, simple. That was probably a major advertising campaign where many people competed. Many people competed. Okay, not to write a massive dissertation on X, Y, or Z. No, to come up with the phrase "want to get away." Okay, always simplicity, hope and change. Right, Obama. So we know in the space of advertising, in the space of politics, in the space of people who are trying to influence you, we're already aware of the fact that simplicity is out there. But then the first question that comes to mind is, have you ever wondered, well, why is that? Put down, and if you have any ideas, okay, about why you think simplicity works, why you think simple slogans work, why you think people are always striving closer and closer to simplicity, okay? Why does it work? In your view, any ideas? Okay, any ideas as to why you think that work? Go ahead and throw that in the chat, and then we're gonna talk about why I think it works. And surprisingly, the reason why it works is a simple reason. It's a very simple reason why it works. A very simple reason why simplicity works. Simplicity works because the slogan is easy to remember, but also allows you to imagine. Very good, Jessica X. They give you a vision. Because simple speaks to our base human nature. Thanks, Jessica X, K Coaching, and Bro Truth. Aha. What Jessica said nicer. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So I'm going to list a few things. Okay. Catchphrase, repeatable, easy to remember. Yes, that's what you mean. It's a catchphrase. It's catchy. It's sticky. It's sticky. It's sticky. Okay. You want things that stick. You want things that stick. Easy to understand for the masses. Yes, yes, yes. But my point is, even if you're across the room from one person and you're trying to do conflict resolution, let's say it's conflict resolution about with your spouse. There's something that you need to discuss with your spouse. Okay, it's something that's been gnawing at you for a while. So you create a nice getaway. You say, hey, let's go to dinner over here, or let's take a weekend trip. And then what you want to do is plan out your particular spiel, your case. I claim that the simpler, the better. So it's not just a case of common denominator. Common denominator is also true when it comes to marketing, yes. But even beyond the lowest common denominator in terms of being appealing to the masses, simplicity is always better. So I'm going to say a couple of things. Yes, short phrases are easy to remember. They are witty. We've all heard the phrase that brevity is the soul of wit, right? We've all heard that, right? And next time you're trying to be funny or next time you hear something funny, you understand that economy of words is key to wit. You cannot have a long, rambling sentence that's witty. It's got to be quick. It's got to be snappy to be witty, okay? So simplicity in terms of sentence structure, which is what we just gave, which is simple slogans, has the advantage of being repeatable, easy to remember, and also it can be witty. Okay, like the "wanna get away" line is witty because they usually paint a picture to give you spill the coffee on your boss or something in a very important meeting, and then they're like, "wanna get away," right? So to the point, straight to the point. Even kids can remember. Yes, thank you guys for your contribution in the chat. Now, I'm going to answer the question in a more formal way. I'm going to say, by formal, I mean general. Can you guys read what I wrote there? Can you read what I wrote there? Let me get a 1 in the chat because I got to make sure that the things that I write on the board are coming out clearly. This is a stream, so even though I may be thinking 1080p on my camera, it does come out sometimes a little bit more blurry depending on the internet and so on and so forth. Attention. Yes, thank you very much. Attention is the persuasion and attention are one and the same thing. Yes, yes, yes. That's a big claim I'm making. What do you mean persuasion and attention are one and the same thing? Attention is attention and persuasion is persuasion. I know I got to get their attention first before I do the persuasion thing, but what do you mean it's the same thing? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That's why they say there's no such thing as bad publicity. That's why people want to keep themselves in the news. Okay? When McDonald's says, I'm loving it, and puts their logo and their slogan in your head, it's not telling you to go buy a burger, right? It's just getting your attention. It's just getting your attention. And then the rest takes care of itself. The rest takes care of itself because once you are able to get into the space of someone's images in their head, and to the person who said images, we'll get to images in particular in terms of simplicity. Once you're able to get into the image in their head, the talk in their head, and influence the feeling in their body, the rest is almost automatic. Okay? So, K Coaching, reading the chat. I learned when I pitch my business, I must have something in my pitch that gets their attention. Attention could be a story, yes. Now, Let me tell you something about this attention. And we're going to build this out as we usually do. Okay, we're going to build out the case as we usually do. And I remind you that my claim is that simplicity is the master key to persuasion of any kind of influencing, any kind of communication, any kind of selling, conflict resolution, so on and so forth. That simplicity is the master key to all that. And meaning the more simple you can make it, the better. Okay? That driving towards simplicity is always a good route, all other things being equal. All other things being equal. Driving towards simplicity is always a good route. And I say that's because simple can get their attention. Now let me talk about the kind of attention you're trying to get, who you're competing with for their attention. Because let's say, Mr. K coaching, when you sit there or stand there and you're talking to your client and you're pitching your business, my contention is this. Let's say I'm trying to sell pens. I'm not competing. Okay, I'm trying to compete for the person's attention. Okay, because a big part of what I'm saying is everything is about attention. All persuasion really is about attention. That the rest is more automatic. Once you get the attention, the rest flows downhill very easily. Okay, but who am I competing against for their attention? If I'm sitting across the room from somebody, I am not competing against other pen manufacturers in my pen selling example. I'm not competing against other pen manufacturers for their attention. No. I'm competing for real estate within their thoughts, within the images in their head and the talk in their head and the feelings in their body. In other words, I'm competing against the argument they had with their wife this morning. I'm competing against the fact that they watched Fox News and it upset them last night. Social media. I'm competing against their back pain. I'm competing against the fact that they're thinking about how they're going to homeschool their child. I'm competing for real estate within the space of their thoughts. This is a very key point. So let me get a 1 in the chat if you understand that we're competing for attention, and the attention is within their feeling, image, and talk. This is something that's going to come up over and over in my channel, this FIT term, right? This feeling, image, and talk, which is subjective consciousness. In other words, you are competing for attention within their subjective consciousness. Image and talk is in the head, feeling is in the body. That's what you're competing against, not your other pen manufacturers. So when you go in that room and you think, oh, I got to talk smack about other pen manufacturers, or I got to start comparing myself immediately with other pen manufacturers, the guy doesn't give a crap. You are looking for real estate within his head and within the space of his emotions. That's what you're competing against. So your competition is a lot more fierce, is basically what I'm saying. Your competition is a lot more fierce than you think. You think, oh, I just got to go there and compete with the other coaching business. I just got to go and compete with the other software salespeople. No, you got to compete for their attention, and you're competing against Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all the crap that happened in his life up to that point that is occupying real estate within his feeling, his image, and talk. That's your competition. The masters know this. That's why they go for simplicity. Okay? Now, why? Because again, let's just draw a straight line here, because I'm saying that attention and persuasion are more or less the same thing. Okay? We'll continue to flesh out what I mean by that. I know it's a little bit of a dramatic statement, but you're like, oh, what am I going to do after I get their attention? All that part is secondary. We're assuming that you actually have something to persuade them about, which you have done your homework about. So all that, we don't need to talk about all that. But really, the whole game is attention, and your competition is fiercer than you think. You're competing against everything going on out there in the world for real estate within their heads and their emotions. Okay. Now, so the reason why simplicity works is because it's easier to get attention with simplicity. And we talked about a couple of things that kind of point us to that. And let's go ahead and number one, let's just call this number one. Number one is simple phrases. That's what we started out with. And let's talk about, well, how do simple phrases help to get attention? Right? How do simple phrases help to get attention? Simplicity is the key to all persuasion. Why? Because simplicity helps to get attention, and attention and persuasion are one and the same thing. Intuitively, we grasp that. One thing to know, though, is we're competing for attention within their subjective consciousness. We're trying to we're competing for attention in their minds. Okay? So, a simple slogan, right? A simple slogan has the advantage of being repeatable. But you know what? Let me state this first. The first thing is that a simple slogan is like a knife. A simple sentence is like a knife that cuts through the fog of their subjective consciousness. Do you understand what I mean by that? So he's got this, that, and the other to think about. Okay? His wife last week told him that she's thinking about a divorce. Okay? He might have colon cancer and he's got to go for X, Y, or Z treatment next week. He doesn't like what his daughter is doing on social media. There's all kinds of things going on in this guy's mind behind the scenes, behind the curtain. There's all kinds of stuff going on. You want to cut right through that. The cleanest way to cut right through that is with a simple thing because it's sharp. It's like a knife. You can easily just insert it. So the first thing we're talking about is simple phrases. And we're saying that they are like a knife. And again, get me a 1 in the chat if you understand the concept that these cut through. They have the ability to cut through. They have the ability to cut through because they're sharp. Okay. And then we get to the wit part of it. We get to the repeatability part of it. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I see ones in the chat. Yep, said Jessica X. Okay. Easy to digest. Okay. These are easy. Let's just call it easy. Okay. Simple slogans. Help to get the attention. Attention for real estate within feel, image, and talk because they cut through like a knife. If you want to ball up a complicated thing and try to fit it in there, no, it's not going to fit. It's going to get blown away in the fog and get mixed up with what he saw on Facebook this morning and what he heard in the news yesterday and what his dad told him 10 years ago. Right? But you want to throw a nice little dart. I'm loving it. Bam, Nokia connecting people. Bam, want to get away? And I'm using slogans so far, but we're going to end up in a sales one-on-one kind of conversation. Okay? One-on-one sales kind of conversation. Okay? Yes, bro, truth, bro, truth. A thoughty daughter, send a man to an early grave. Yes, but you got to understand that that's whom you're competing against. You're going over there, you're trying to sell software, you're trying to sell this and that. You're trying to get their attention is number one. You're trying to compete for real estate within their feeling, image, and talk complex, within their subjective consciousness. And your competition is not, your competition for space is not your other pen manufacturers or software manufacturers. That's not what he's thinking about. And that's what you need to understand. So when you're sitting there, don't think about, he's not thinking about, okay? He's not thinking about your competition. The thing you need to cut through is everything that is going on with that person. Okay. So hence, you need to understand that your competition is a lot more fierce, a lot more complex than you think. And that's why For example, I made that video about being the most comfortable person in the room. Go ahead. That's the most popular video in the channel so far, by the way. So if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check it out. Plus, also, frequently go back and refresh as to why you want to be the most comfortable person in the room, because this is how you calm down the winds. We're not talking about that today. Today, we're talking about simplicity, okay? But the reason why you want to be the most comfortable person in the room is because this crazy storm going up with his feelings and the images in his head, when you're able to calm down your storm, you can calm down the storm of the person across from you. We all know this. We all know that we don't like being around people who are agitated. But people who are the reverse of agitated make us feel calm. You want to calm down their feeling, image, and talk complex. And then you want to use simple darts to cut through to get to them. It's not about your competition in the commercial space. Again, we're selling pens. Just for an example, it's not about the other pen manufacturers. It's about his daughter and his wife and Facebook and Instagram and all kinds of stuff, golf games, and things he doesn't even know going on in his unconscious mind. Okay? Smooth operation, says K. Yes, 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 yes. Have a soothing effect, like Jessica X said. Now, so simplicity, one example is simple slogans. They're repeatable, easy to understand, and I'm saying they're like a knife. They cut through, right? Now, what's another one? Okay, in our simplicity thing, another one, put another box over here. We'll call it number 2. All right. Another one, if simple slogans are like a knife, what I'm about to say is like a wrecking ball. You see, it's over there. Big claim, big, bodacious, audacious, crazy. It's gonna be huge. It's the best, right? So someone says, "Hey," and we know what you know what I mean by big, audacious, bodacious, crazy, out of ridiculous claims, right? Like there was a crazy guy called Crazy Gideons, that did the commercials, crazy, or like the monster truck rah rally rah big, it's gonna be the biggest, baddest, first claim, rah, right? That's a wrecking ball. Okay, if a simple slogan is a knife to cut through to find space in the, find real estate within the space of feeling, image, and talk, big claim, make America great again, build that wall, or it's gonna be huge, right? Or I'm like, nicer, you know what, nicer, you're tremendous, you're wonderful, everybody agrees, you're the best, you're awesome. Okay, that's the wrecking ball approach. Okay, the wrecking ball approach. It's simple too. Again, simplicity again is the commonality that we're going to find in everything that we're going to address today. Simple. The big claim is not, it doesn't even have to be accurate. People don't care if it's accurate. People know what bullshitting is for, right? Even when you show up at that party and the person tells you, wow, you're the loveliest woman in the room, and says it in a very big, bodacious way, you know it's not accurate, but you don't care. You don't care. You don't give a crap. He's got your attention. That's all that matters. Got your attention. People don't care when you tell them, oh, this is the best XYZ. Okay? This will save you 50% on your accounting costs. As a matter of fact, you know what? I guarantee you're going to get $100,000 extra this year by using this claim block, whatever it may be. Ladies and gentlemen, The big claim is the wrecking ball approach. Some people are better at it than others, but whatever, all the things we're going to list out today, you need to include in your arsenal. So you might not be the best at big claims. You want to study a big claim guy? We all know the person I'm thinking of, right? You want to study the big, big, big? It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's tremendous. Everybody agrees you're the best, okay? Jessica X, you're amazing. You're tremendous. You're wonderful. Everybody knows this. Everybody, I'm telling you, everybody knows it. You're the best. You're tremendous. You're a wonderful woman. Now, that's the Donald Trump. Okay, we could call it the Trump. The Trump move. The Trump move. Some people are better at it than others. Watch all his rallies. All his rallies are filled with simple sentence structures, okay, that just make big, audacious claims. Who gives a damn if it's true or not? Because people know what bullshitting is, but people don't like to be lied to. There's a difference. People don't like to be lied to. A lie is a little bit more like a dissertation and, the old kind of a lie. There's certain other politicians, because I don't want to say anything, derogatory, derogative, or whatever about anybody. So if I use an example, it will only be to the plus side. But there are other politicians who do the lie thing, not necessarily the bullshit thing. Okay. The lie thing, we don't like. We don't like you standing there from a point of view of authority and lying to us. No. But we'll take big, bodacious, audacious claims, BS, all day. All day. That's the wrecking ball to cut through and get to the attention. Again, when you say such things, what you're trying to do is you're trying to cut through the feeling, image, and talk complex. Okay? The feeling, image, and talk complex. It's not about the other people that are selling coaching services. It's not about the other people that are selling pens. It's about everything going on in that person's life. That's why you need to cut through it either with very simple, repeatable, witty slogan, simplicity, or a big wrecking ball. Boom. Not facts, data, statistics. Well, studies have shown that with the whatever, and the 10-year projection on the horizon will definitely put you in the third quadrant of the fourth percentile of the. No. Just come in there and be like, this is going to save you thousands of. Tremendous. I just came from the office of my other clients. They're super, super excited about this. Right? They know it's bullshit, but they can go along with it because you got their attention. The wrecking ball approach. Big claim. Big claim. All right. Yes. Salim, not sure. I'll just say Salem. Salem says, you're accurate about people's reception to BS versus lying. Yes. Accuracy in human persuasion is not so important. Accuracy in getting your attention is not so important. And remember, one of our big claims here is that persuasion and attention are one and the same thing, my friends. One and the same thing. And as we go on and on and on, I'm going to continue to occupy more and more and more of the space to show you that, hey, attention is where it's at. And it's attention for their feeling, image, and talk. In other words, attention for their internal images, internal talk, and the feeling in their body. That's what you're competing against. Whatever's going on with that person, you want to cut through, boom, get to it. And you can throw a big wrecking ball at them, or you can throw a nice dart at them. Slightly different skills, but what you want to do is train all of them and the one, obviously, you want to lean on the one that you're the best at. The other things we're going to talk about where, so Trump knows, for example, that he's just the guy that's going to come in and just going to say the most ridiculous thing in the room. People are going to try to, like, the first debate, the first question to him, which many other politicians will have completely folded on, was they attacked him from a point of view of the whole sexist thing. They said, you have called women pigs and slobs and this and that. What's her name that asked it? Like Kelly, the Kelly lady from Fox News. You've called women pigs, blah, 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 blah. And boom, just like that, he said, only Rosie O'Donnell. Some of you may remember that line. Okay. And the room erupted. Everyone started laughing. Some other people will have been like, oh my God, you can't do that. No, yes, you can. You can. And he won. And I'm talking about the primaries now. This was in the Republican primaries the first time around. Okay. He cleaned the clock with all those other people by saying stuff like that because he knows that's his thing. Not everybody can play that hand, but you got to know that that's a hand available for you to play. And when somebody is coming at you like that with the, oh, you're this and that, and he's like, well, only Rosie O'Donnell. And everything just took all the air out of the attack. The attack just fizzled out. Okay? If you think that's just luck or chance, if you don't know that that's a skill, then you're mistaken. And you need to learn from it. Okay? Now, in our talk about simplicity being key to all kinds of persuasion, what else can we have? What else can we have? If we have a knife, a dart, and we also have a wrecking ball, something else that's more simple than not is directness. And this is vis-a-vis your intentions. This is going mode 1. For those of you, shout out to Alan Roger Curry. This is the mode 1 approach, okay? Mode 1. And again, directness is more simple than indirectness, right? I think we'll all agree, it's very simple, easily understood, that directness is more simple than indirectness. Therefore, that's why it works to get their attention. That's why it works to persuade. That's why, so far, my hypothesis that simplicity is the master key to all persuasion still stands, at least in my eyes. Okay? And you guys can perhaps rewatch, and for those of you who will be rewatching, try to break it down or try to throw stones, try to assail my claim, the claim that simplicity is where it's all at. And why simplicity gets your attention, that's why. And that attention and persuasion, one and the same thing. That once you get someone's attention, the rest flows downhill naturally. The key thing to remember is what we're trying to get attention, okay, what we're competing for in terms of their landscape of attention. We're trying to get real estate within the space of their subjective consciousness. We're not trying to compete with other people doing the same business as us. We're trying to compete with the whole goddamn universe that's distracting them. And we want to cut through it with a knife or with a wrecking ball, or now we're getting more to a one-on-one conversation now. This has to do with intentions. Intentions. Trump doesn't play traditional political games. He's straight to the point. Love him or hate him. Yes. Big thing you can learn about his approach is because if it's working, and these are things that, because look, he's a salesman, okay? He's a salesman. So it's not like these are things that were not known within the sales community, right? But these fake statesmen, politicians, have been playing that other fake game forever. And I also had to be the right time, and he also was the right person to come in and just kind of cut through it with just pure salesmanship. And whether you like what he's saying or not, attention is the name of the game in sales and marketing. Okay? So Directness. And I'm going to open up the stream too, because I'm sure that some people will have. Let me get a one in the chat if. Okay, let me get a one in the chat if you would like me to open up the stream at some point. If you guys have questions, because again, I'm taking a particular path down this, but this is generally about sales and persuasion. So you guys may have certain particular examples or questions or ideas for how to approach things. So let me get a one, okay, in the chat. It says this is on repeat. What do you mean by making major profits? What do you mean by this is on repeat? I'm sorry if I got distracted by the chat there. But if you could explain that, is there something wrong with the stream? Let me know. But let me get a one on the chat if you want me to open up the stream later for you to ask questions, for us to converse about this idea, being that simplicity is the master key to all persuasion, conflict resolution, influencing, selling, okay? Influencing, selling, influencing, selling. Gotcha. So, directness. Directness is simpler than indirectness. Ah, that was a funny line there, Salem. But I would definitely, at some point, if you guys have any questions, feel free to either put it in the chat, okay, or we can talk later. Directness is simpler than indirectness, and that's why it helps to get the attention. Now let's get into it a little bit deeper here. Let's get into it a little bit deeper. I'm going to ask something in the chat, and feel free to chime in and give your answer. Why do you think people are hesitant to be direct? In your mind, why do you think people are hesitant to be direct? And I'm over here making the claim that directness is better than indirectness because it cuts through and gets attention and is better at persuasion, conflict resolution too. Okay. I'm saying in all forms of communication that directness is better. Maybe a poem is not so direct. Maybe some kind of literature is not so direct, but that's entertainment. Okay. You're not trying to persuade somebody. We're talking about persuasive communication. Persuasive communication. People don't like confrontation. Very good answer there. Fear of rejection. They might get a no. They feel if they're indirect, they could persuade someone. Persuade someone. Yes, persuade in air quotes. Scared to offend people or have ulterior motives. So maybe they have ulterior motives. Maybe they're scared to offend people. They're scared of confrontation. They think that they could finesse people by being indirect. Okay. Those are all fair points. Now, since we're in a setting where you're doing something that is, let's say, serious, let's say you're trying to get her number, let's say you're trying to do conflict resolution with your spouse, or you're trying to sell your pen, okay? Being direct with regards to your intentions is often mistaken for being direct. No, let me rephrase that. Being direct with respect to your intentions is often mistaken as telling people what they should do, right? There's a difference on the one hand with saying, here's what my intentions are, and on the other hand, me telling you what you should do. Can you guys get that difference? Nicer says, maybe they aren't aware, they talk in circles or beat around the bush. Yes, and this is professional grade stuff. Everything that goes on vis-a-vis what we're talking about right now is stuff you should know about, not stuff you don't know about. We're not being unconscious here. This is stuff you prepare for, as a matter of fact, and we'll get to the preparations later. So the dichotomy is this. On the one hand, I'm telling somebody what they should do. On the other hand, I'm telling them what my intentions and my motivations are, what I would like, the outcomes that I want, versus what they should do. The difficulty, or should I say the skill, lies in being able to clearly delineate between these two things. So when you're in front of that person and you say, I would like to get this software in your hand so that you can begin to see the 50% savings on your accounting practices. Or I would like for you to start getting these superior results by using my tools. Maybe I'm selling tools to an electrician. Okay. My intention here is to put these tools in your hand so that you can begin to cut 50% on your installation costs. Right? The fear is now I'm thinking that that person is thinking, oh, I want them to buy. No, I never said I want you to buy it. I said I want to sell it to you. Now, you can get to some levels of mastery where you can put it all in one sentence, where you can convey the idea that, hey, this is what I want, but this has nothing to do with what you should do. Now, I tend to put it this way, which I tell my intentions, and I like to go directly to the intentions, and immediately I say, this is my responsibility. Okay, I'm responsible for seeing the sale through. It is not your responsibility to buy. It is my responsibility to sell. That relaxes you more, right? Nicer and Kwasi, Jessica X, everyone else in the chat room. If I tell you, hey, I'm trying to get these tools in your hands so that you can begin to see 50% reduction in your installation costs. But that's my responsibility. That's my motivation. It's not your responsibility to buy, but this is my intention. Right? The same thing is applicable to letting a woman know what your intentions are. I would like to take you out on a date. What are you doing next Thursday? It is my intention to get to know you better. When you say what your intentions are and what your motivations are now, for the date one, the motivations, you don't have to explain, and I'll talk about this explaining of motivations, right? It makes them feel less pressured. Yes, 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 yes. I say that the two things go hand in hand. Letting them know your intentions and also that these are indeed your intentions, not putting it in a way where I want you to do something. I want you to get in my car and go home with me. No, it's not. What you should do is what motivates me, what my intentions are, and the outcomes I would like to see. People are way more understanding. People know that we are animals out here in the world with moving every step of the way. Unless you're a zombie, you're moving within a frame of intentions. When you wake up in the morning, you have an intention. Maybe it's to go use the restroom, and that's your frame. It's restroom frame. Therefore, find restroom. Anything that leads me away from restroom is an obstacle. Things that lead me towards restroom are good. So you can picture it like a video game. That is your frame for that video game. Level 1, go to restroom. Jump obstacle. Okay. Grab toilet paper, whatever, right? So every step of the way, all through your day, you have different frames. Okay. And they all have an objective, and it frames your whole being. It frames your feelings, the images in your head, and the talk in your head. It frames what you consider to be pluses and what you consider to be minuses. Okay. Things that lead to the restroom are pluses. Things that take me away from the restroom are minuses. If I'm really, really pressed and I really need to go to the restroom, things that would otherwise be pluses in other frames, like, hey, here's this pretty lady trying to talk to me. That may be a plus in other frames, but I really, really need to go to the restroom. Now, this is a minus. This is an obstacle in the restroom frame. Get out of my way, right? So we know that we live in frames of intentionality, frames of motivation. So telling somebody what your particular frame is, it's not outlandish. As long as you convey it clearly that this is what you are motivated by, and that it is not, you're not telling them what to do. Now, it takes skill, preparation, repetition, trial, and failure to be able to hone this down. And again, we're talking about professional grade weapons here. We're not talking about people who don't think about things that they do, right? We're talking about you before every meeting saying, how am I going to get their attention? And I do this before every meeting. How do I get their attention? What is my simple one-line intention? Can I say it to myself? How does it sound? That word doesn't feel good today. The last time I used that particular word, it didn't really come out right. It didn't flow. It doesn't feel natural to me. I'm going to change the word, or I change the position of the phrasing. Rather than say I want to sell them this thing so that they can get the benefit, I could say I want to give them the benefit. That's why I want to sell it to them. I want to improve your installation. Hence, I want to sell you this tool. I want to sell you this tool in order to get you to improve your installation. Now, the part of the explanation that I talked, now you got to explain what your intentions and your motivation is. And this has to do with a word here. Let's just call it relatability. I already said that within the frame of asking for her number, the relatability is already there. You don't have to say, well, why would you want my number? Well, why is a man approaching a woman? No, that part is already well understood, right? So that part is actually easier than certain other sales, okay? Because it is understood. The frame is understood. But let's talk about your tool seller and you're talking to an electrician. How can you guys be relatable? How can he understand your motivation? Well, people do things not just because they have to, in terms of, he doesn't just wake up, Mr. Electrician, only because, well, he has to go to work and get a paycheck. Presumably, he actually likes electrician work. He actually likes the look of a nice installation of conduits and electrical panels and a transformer rack. And it looks nice and clean after he's done. Craftsmen take pride in their work. You can get a 1 in the chat if you understand what I mean here by understanding that when you're selling to somebody, this person, there is a high likelihood that they take pride in what they do, unless they're complete trash. People take pride in what they do, okay? And if you are a tool salesperson selling to an electrician who uses tools, who likes to see clean installations, because one of the things that any kind of person in any kind of construction or craft, they love the finished product. If you go to building contractors, mechanical contractors, plumbers, if you go to their LinkedIn site, they show pictures all day. Welders, for example, pictures all day of nice welds, nice clean pipe installations, okay? Nice pump hookups and complicated whatever, right? They take pride in the final product. In other words, there's a pride there. What you want to do is you want to tap into that in the sense that you want to be like, I'm not just some schmuck off the street. I actually like clean installations. That's why I want to see you use my tool, because I know it'll give you a better installation. That's the relatability part. That part may have to come in a couple of sentences. Like, again, we're starting from the simple, basic intention, right? I would like to see you get the better results and better installations, cheaper installations by getting these tools in your hand. And by the way, I like a nice, sweet installation as much as the next guy. I mean, how long have you been an electrician, sir? And he says, oh, I've been an electrician for about 20 years. And you've done your homework. You know this guy's been in there for a while. You can read him, so you know he's someone who takes pride in their work. And he'll be like, yeah, I've been an electrician for about 20 years. It's like, yeah, I'm sure, this is something you like about, you must really like the work then. It's like, yeah, I enjoy the work. And then you grab that. He enjoys the work. Now you take that and you play with it. You say, yeah, myself, I've sold tools to all kinds of contractors, building contract. I mean, I've been in the construction industry for over 20 years now, and I've done this and I've done that. And yes, I really, really love this stuff. And I've never seen anything like working your way back towards. That's why I want to put these tools in your hands so that you can get those clean installations and really save, okay, on those installation costs. Okay, we're talking about stating your intentions. Stating your intentions because it's simpler than not directly stating your intentions. And simplicity is the key to getting people's attention, and attention is the key to persuasion. And we said that there is a block that people have here because they think that if I tell somebody my intentions, I'm telling them what they should do. But no, that's not what you're doing. But it is your job to always go to the drawing board and say, how can I tell somebody? How can I tell somebody these are my intentions? This is what is motivating me. I'm motivated by clean installation. I'm motivated by good work. And I'm motivated to put these tools in your hand so that you can begin to get clean installations and good work. That's the idea. That's the idea. Okay? And it takes work on your part to prepare this mode one, whether you're going to approach the girl and ask her for something, or state what your intentions are, or you're going to sell the pen to the guy, or as we're saying, sell the tool to the electrician. You need to tell them what your motivation is and make it clear that it is my job to sell. Don't worry, it's not your job to buy. I take full responsibility for my intentions. The outcome I would like to see is for you to use these tools on your next project. And I take full responsibility for that. One phrase to add is I take full responsibility for it. Shout out to Ann Logan in the house. Wow, keep it up, love. You're doing great. Shout out to that guy, you. Much love, Ike. You are very calm. Hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. Hit up the Cash App. Quick summary. We've listed 3 things, okay, that have to do with simplicity. The big claim here is that simplicity is the key to all persuasion. Okay, the more you move towards simplicity, the better. The less you move from simplicity, the less you can get their attention. We started out talking about, well, we already kind of know this intuitively. We know of the I'm loving it. We know want to get away. We know no kick connecting people. We know hope and change. These things that I'm listing now are simple slogans. We say simplicity, simple slogans. They're repeatable. Brevity is the soul of wit. They can be witty. Okay, they're easily understood. That's like a knife cutting through the space of their feeling, image, and talk. We talked about the attention. We're trying to get attention. We're trying to get space in the real estate of their imagination and in their head. When you're selling that tool to that electrician, your competition is not other tool manufacturers. Your competition is his daughter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Fox News, the coronavirus. In other words, all the fog that's going on in his head and all the feelings that are going through his body, that's what you need to cut through. Simplicity cuts through. Complexity does not cut through. Complexity does not cut through. Simplicity, in terms of simple slogans, simple phrases. You want to cut down, boil things down to very simple phrases. A few days ago, Trump tweeted something about the stock market. He said, stock market up big, big in capital letters with exclamation points. Stock market up big. You think he doesn't know what he's doing when he says stuff like that? Or you think he's just a Neanderthal, like he can't talk or something? No, he knows. Because again, number two is the wrecking ball, right? Which you just come in and you say something huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be big. It's the best thing since sliced bread. As a matter of fact, everybody agrees. Everybody knows this. You know this. You know everybody knows this. It's tremendous. You're gonna be tired of winning. You're gonna win so much. You're gonna be tired of winning. That's the big claim. Number two aspect is the wrecking ball. Boom. If the simple slogan is like a knife, the big claim is like a wrecking ball coming through, getting their attention, because that's what you want. Commonality between simple slogan and wrecking ball is that they're simple. Third thing regarding simplicity is directness. We have to drill into that one a little bit more because of the hesitance that people have to be direct. But what I would tell you is this: people actually get more relaxed when you tell them your intentions. And when you tell them in a way where you're just saying, here's my motivational frame. This has nothing to do with what you should do, but this is what is motivating me right now. And then we talked about, if you're going to ask her for a number, just to use that kind of example, the motivational frame is already nicely created for you. So all you really need to do is just say, here's my motivation, and make it clear that, hey, I'm responsible for getting the number from you. You're not responsible for giving me the number. No. They're not responsible for buying. You're responsible for selling. But in instances where, take the electrician example, where there may not be a relatability, where how does he know you're not just some scumbag? Okay, now you got to make it clear that just the same way he likes the construction industry and he has worked in the construction industry for 20 years and he likes clean installations and he loves good tools, you also have worked in here for a while, done different things, and you are an avid advocate for good tools and clean installation, and you love it too. So he understands, oh yeah, I can understand why somebody would wake up in the morning and come here to talk to me about this, because I've woken up in the morning for the past 20 years to do this kind of work myself, the electrician thinks, right? So be direct, be direct, be direct. Ladies and gentlemen, mode one is the way, because it gets the attention, and attention is the key to all persuasion. Now, number four, okay? And I would like you guys to give me a 1 in the chat if you guys are finding this useful, okay? If you guys are finding this useful, if you like more content like this, I just started this thing last month, okay? I started this channel last month. I was in a hotel, and my first video, I was in a hotel, I had a red bow tie on. I was like, you know what, let me start doing this. Let me throw out a video out there, okay? And let's see what happens. So generally speaking, we can go, I have a wide array of interests, okay? And we can go many different ways, whether talking about business, sales, marketing, motivation, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. You can talk about the mastery of subjective consciousness, which always comes in, okay? We're always talking about that feeling, image, talk complex. That's always going to be there, no matter what I'm talking about, because I think that's what undergirds everything, okay? Or we can talk about like different kinds of systems for getting the outputs that you want out of your body, out of your life, right? What inputs to put in to get the outputs that you want, so on and so forth. And we can also, I'll also add like some lifestyle things, because I talk, for example, aesthetics. My last, what was the live stream, right? Yeah, my last live stream was about aesthetics. It's more of a lifestyle thing, understanding that aesthetics is the outward manifestation of human prowess and so on and so forth. So I'm seeing ones in the chat, Keep it going. Love the content, people say. People say keep it going. Good. Number 4 is, and this is the fourth and final when it comes to just this particular survey of simplicity. We're not talking about billboards and how you carry yourself and body language and certain other things, because the simplicity also applies in those as well. But number 4 is image. And somebody said this before when I said, why do simple slogans work? And somebody said it puts images in your mind. I already put a couple of images in your mind. You know the wrecking ball image? You guys picture the wrecking ball in your head, right? When I said this is the knife, this is cuts through, it's a knife. And I said this one is a wrecking ball. Those things were said on purpose. Those things were said on purpose to get your attention. And we're going to talk about this image way of getting people's attention. And as a matter of fact, it is very clear. Because what are we competing for? We're competing for real estate in their head. It is better, okay? So Providers Speaks in the house. I didn't see you earlier, but I got to give a shout out to Soul Provider Speaks. And I got to give Soul Provider Speaks a wrench as well. All right. Out after the stream, he gets a wrench. So basically, the idea is that we are given, or we're competing for real estate in the space of their head. And when I tell you wrecking ball, I'm already in your head. When I tell you something, I elicit the participation of your imagination. If I were to say, for example, picture yourself on the top of a skyscraper in broad daylight at high noon, in the middle of the day, on the top of a skyscraper. My contention is that is a lot better than me showing you a picture of the top of a skyscraper at noon. Because what I want is to get in your head. I want to manifest a picture of a skyscraper in your head. I want you to do the work, because no one can do the work better than you, the person that I'm talking to, you guys in the chat room. I could have shown a picture of a wrecking ball or made some silly visual about a knife cutting through. People may disagree, okay? But let me back up. The reason they disagree is because it is simpler for me to show you slides, for example. And that's why you're never going to see me do slides on this channel. That's why I do this. I talk and we list things so that we can circle around it, look at things, retrace the path. Slides are for monkeys. Little silly pictures. No. You want to put the thing in their head individually. Each person imagined a different skyscraper. Each person imagined a different high noon scenario. Okay? Some people it was a skyscraper in Chicago. Some people it was a skyscraper in New York. Some people were at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. It was a desert environment. Some people was a purely cloudless sky with the sun. Some people had patches of cloud. That's what you want. You want it to be individual to the person. You want to take up real estate within their subjective consciousness. You don't want to show them a wrecking ball. You want to tell them it's like a wrecking ball and let them picture the wrecking ball for themselves. I'm not saying it is easy to do this. And I'm not saying that I'm particularly a master at this. One continues to practice one's craft as one lives, right? But that this is the path you want to go towards. You want to move away from showing people's images, and you want to go towards having them putting images in their head by you suggesting it. Because now you know for sure that you have their attention because you're inside their head. We use slides in the army. I think what's his name? Mad Dog Mattis. He said he has a lot of bad things or a lot of things to say about slide that, you know, in terms of discouraging people from using them. Okay. God damn, man. Am I saying not to use visual things? No. Okay. So, and the people in this chat, I'm sure, are not silly people, right? Because it's something silly that people tend to do when I say, oh, slides are for monkeys. You're like, oh, should we never? How about when I want? It's like, dude, you got to know how to eat the meat and spit out the bones, right? You can't be doing the but if, but what about this? But what about that? But what about? Take the point. The point is, it is better if you can to put the image in their head, have them imagine the image, okay? That if you could be the master of doing that and you can memorize everything and you can do your song and dance and your dog and pony show without any slides, that is the peak of performance. That's the point. And everything beyond that is you just saying, you know what, I'm not there yet. And that's fine, right? That's fine. But we have to be able to say what the peak of the mountain is. The peak of the mountain is I put images in your head. I elicit the participation of your imagination. I elicit the participation of your imagination. You imagine your wrecking ball. You imagine your skyscraper at high noon. It's in your head now. And remember, what we're competing when we're trying to persuade anybody. Convince our spouse to do something. Convince a client to buy. Convince her to give you her number. What you're trying to do is get the attention. And what you're competing for is all the other stuff that's in their head, or what you're competing with. Because you're trying to get attention within the real estate, okay, within the space of the real estate of their feelings in their body, the image in their head, and the talk in their head. And showing them something, okay, is not as effective as them creating it in their head. Because now it is stuck in their head. Because it was their image. It's their wrecking ball. It's their skyscraper. It goes back to why is this related to simplicity? For those of you keeping score and trying to say, well, that I must make my claim. You must make your claim. I'm not going to let you just slide away without saying why images are simple. Well, pictures worth 1,000 words. An image is simpler at getting directly at the point than a whole bunch of words. And then I'll also say a couple of things about this also. Again, my hypothesis is that simplicity is the key to all persuasion. And the reason why is because simplicity is easier to get attention. And that attention and persuasion are the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, attention and persuasion are the same thing. Okay, now let's delve a little bit deeper into the image, using the image of me and that electrician. Okay. I'm talking to the electrician about installation. Here is something that I always do. Now the image, and it has to be their imagination. Let me write here. So in case anyone loses, it has to be their imagination. It's always better. you know, and corporate America is filled with idiots telling you about, well, where's the slide deck for this one? I don't know this slide deck. I've never presented this slide before. I don't know what to do. I'm a freaking idiot. Their imagination. It's got to be their imagination, not you not knowing what to do without having some slides in front of you like a monkey. Okay? Their imagination. And then you want something to circle around, and I'll explain what that means. Again, this is master level stuff, not watered down stuff. So we're not talking about the average person trying to stay the average person. That's not what we do in this channel. Capiche? And you guys already know that because you guys are great. You guys are tremendous. You guys are the best. Okay, everybody knows this. This is this panel. Oh my God, the people in the chat, awesome, 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 wonderful people, the best. So, circling around, I'm having a conversation about an installation. Maybe they're putting up trapezes. And for those of you, a trapeze is just basically a hanger, okay? These guys, these electrician people or pipe people, okay? Here's like a deck, right? A ceiling or, a floor above. They hang something down like this and something down like this. They put a steel member across, and these are their pipes or their conduits, right? And that's a trapeze. So now, what I usually do is, okay, I will paint a picture so that we can constantly go back to that picture. So let's say I'm trying to sell some kind of product to people who build walls on the side of the freeway, those sound walls. These are masonry contractors. And I say, well, so you guys know, well, and I make it seem like, oh, it's like a off, like, oh, let's just use this. Like I just thought about it right now. But no, you got to be prepared. Okay. Okay, you know what? Imagine, let's use this example, okay? You're on the side of the freeway and you're building a 70-foot tall wall and you're on scaffolding. Boom. Now I got an image in their head. They're on the side of the freeway. Each person imagines a different freeway with different kind of cars going by, different vegetation, different stuff, but it's a 70-foot tall wall. And that'll be the key point, or it'll be because I'm trying to sell something about stabilizers of scaffolding or something, right? There's got to be one thing that's got to be like you got to put in there because it's key to what you're trying to sell, but the rest is their imagination, right? Okay. And then as you talk about price and this and so on and so forth, you can refer back to that and you say, hey, and remember that wall by the side of the freeway, those iron workers never quite place the rebar in a straight line, do they? And they're like, no, yeah, fuck, those iron workers, no, they never quite do that. We always have some problem. Maybe I'm trying to sell a laser kind of guidance system that for measuring and laying their bricks so that it's easier to keep things in line, right? So you create an image so that when the conversation veers away from that image, you can bring it, or when the conversation goes around and talks about other things, you can bring it back to that image. In other words, if I said this image of, okay, imagine you're laying out 50 trapezes, which are these kind of hangy things for pipes, conduits, and so on, and ducts, and so on and so forth. Okay, you're laying out 50 trapezes in this room, okay, and you're on a ladder, you're laying out 50 trapezes, and then we talk about this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, and when you're on that ladder, you want your hands to be free. Maybe I'm selling some kind of tools that makes it easier for them to, just go ahead and slam something in there, and the rod goes in place, and they don't have to put a nut in your teeth and a bolt here and do this, right? So I'm painting that picture. They picture themselves in that room, okay? And then we go and we talk about price and so on and so forth. And in the close, or when I'm telling them about price again, I come back to that room. I say, those 50 trapezes in that room will cost you $500. It's a lot better than just saying 50 trapezes will cost you $500, because no, we put them in a room where they have been able to provide a context in terms of the difficulties of doing things in the traditional way, which is the way in which they're doing it right now, versus the way in which you're proposing they do it. And they're able to say, you know what? I'll pay $500 to get rid of that room quicker, right? Because you can tell somebody it's $500 for 50 trapezes. That's one thing. But $500 to lay out the 50 trapezes in that room we've been talking about is a totally different thing, because it gets their attention. Don't worry about how it all works. How it works, we can intuitively figure out. Like, we know, we can kind of think about it and so on and so forth, but that's a slightly academic thing. That's the kind of thing that goes in books. Hit the like, y'all. Solo TV 84 in the building. Don DeMarco himself. Don DeMarco himself. Okay. Ike, have you taken pictures of your past whiteboards, the pyramid? I have them here though, so I can take pictures of them and find a way to put it out there. What's good, Solo? He says, "What's good, Ike? What is good?" Just putting some people up on some game here as to how simplicity is the key to all persuasion. Simplicity is the key to all persuasion because simplicity is the key to getting attention. And attention and persuasion are one and the same thing. Okay, we've given 4 examples so far. And then we're going to take a little step. Okay, it's been an hour and 20 minutes so far. We'll given 4 examples so far. Now we're going to take a little step into next. We're going to take a little step into sales. Just talk about the sales, how we can apply these kinds of things in the different aspects of the sales cycle, because there's the prospecting side of things, there's the fact finding and trying to understand the customer side of things, and then there's closing. We all know closing. We all know the coffee is for closers. Some of you might know that line. Famous Alec Baldwin line. Coffee is for closers. Okay, so simple slogans get their attention. That's why. Want to get away? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Nokia, connecting people. Hope and change. America great again. Simple slogans, repeatable, witty, gets their attention. And that's how you persuade them. What are you competing with in getting their attention? It's not your competitors in the commercial space. It's not the other people that are selling pens when you're trying to sell a pen. You're competing with Facebook, Instagram, their mom, their dad, the fact that the shower head wasn't working this morning, the fact that their shoes are too tight. You're competing with feeling, image, and talk within their subjective consciousness. That's what you're trying to cut through. You're trying to compete for real estate within the space of their head and their body. Okay? So this is the knife approach. Cuts through, simple slogan. Big claim is the wrecking ball approach. It's going to be huge. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best thing ever. Everybody agrees it's tremendous, tremendous, tremendous. Okay? Big claim. Big claim is simpler than a dissertation. Okay? Again, everything goes back to simplicity. Number 3, direct, mode 1. Be direct with your intentions and go sit down, think, and sculpt the sentence to make it sure that you're conveying that it is your intention, as opposed to you telling them what they should do. It is my intention, because everybody has a motivational frame, right? So you didn't just wake up, put on a suit, and go to the meeting with the vice president of whatever because of crap. No, you have a motivation, so put it down on the table. It is my intention to get the entire Milwaukee region to use our software because I think it's the best software. But I take full responsibility for this. Okay? It's my job to sell. It is not your job to buy. Fair enough? Right? Now they're relaxed because they know what you're there to do, and you've gotten their attention with a simple thing rather than them being distracted thinking, what does this guy want? What does this guy want? My daughter's a thought. I saw her on Instagram yesterday. Sucks. Anyways, image, okay? Image is also simple. And as I said, don't show them the image. Put the image in your head. I put the image of a wrecking ball in your head. I didn't put a slide up that says, this one's like a wrecking ball and this one's like a knife. And it's like, no, I know you're not children. Plus, I know that when you put the image in your head by yourself, I got your attention. I'm now in your head. There is no guarantee that the image that I put up will be relatable to you, but I'm 100% guaranteed that if I can use my words in such a way that it elicits the participation of your imagination and you have an image in your head, then I got you in the palm of my hands. Capiche? That's how it works, okay? Then, another thing about image is you want to be able to circle around that image, okay? 3.0, yeah, I was listening to you, Soul Provider Speaks, and it was kind of, I'm new to all this stuff, and I learned about 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Good breakdown, Soul Provider Speaks, on your quarterly quarterly scandal overview. It was a good stream. I believe that was yesterday. But that's how it works. You want something to be able to circle around with the image. So you describe, okay, 70-foot wall by the side of the freeway, and they're on scaffolding building this wall, so that you always refer back to the wall, okay? And when we're on that wall and you're placing the bricks this way, you know that the lines are not always straight on that wall when you're on the side of the freeway. You know that the scaffolding can be a little shaky on that wall when you're on the side of the freeway, and it'll be $1,000 to build about 100 yards of that wall, or whatever it is that you want to make sure that there's something in their head that is in all your heads, but it's going to be slightly different for everybody. That's why it's got them, because it's their particular image. And by the way, just so this is an interesting thing too, because speaking of mode 1, okay, and I know I just took a very wild tangent right now, but for a lot of guys, this is for guys, so if there's any ladies in here, you need to cover your ears. A lot of guys don't understand the art of using a woman's imagination. And it's about this simplicity thing. When it comes to, let's just say, talking dirty, okay? Now, everything can be planned. Everything should be planned. The masters actually are conscious of what they're doing, okay? And over here is master level stuff. We're not talking about average people trying to stay average, okay? LeBron practices more than everybody else. Michael Jordan practices more than everybody else. He doesn't just chill and be like, yeah, I'm all, you know, I'm just a natural. Like, nah, F that crap, okay? Get out of here with that nigga shit, okay? No, this is where you practice your craft. Before every meeting, I always, as I said once before, attention, intention, and what's my big claim? I always say, how am I going to get their attention? What is my direct statement of my intention, both to myself and how I tell it to them? And I practice how I'm going to tell it to them. Not because I haven't done it before, but because you got to practice, 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 practice. Okay? And then, what's my big claim? And how am I going to deliver the big claim? Okay? Now, the tangent I was going on in terms of using a woman's imagination is you got to go back and think, how can I use her imagination is the game. It's not, I'm just going to put a blatant picture out there of something. No, you want to initiate something. You want to initiate the ball rolling towards a direction and then ask a question like, yeah, you like that, don't you? Something like that, right? Maybe that's another stream, okay? Maybe that's another stream. But there's some very simple techniques, again, for all kinds of persuasion, all kinds of communication, conflict resolution, and so on and so forth, is you want to be able to use the other person's imagination. Right now, we're still talking about image. And the reason I went on that tangent, because I know it's relatable to all the men in this chat, vis-a-vis using a woman's imagination to spice things up, okay? And it is about using her imagination. It's not about you being able to paint the full picture. The less you leave out of the image, and have her fill in. And trust me, she has very active imagination. She'll fill it in. Okay. And you just want to be guiding across and navigating those waters there. Okay. Yes. Another stream, we might put you up on some game, gentlemen, so you can stop making a fool of yourself out there. And yeah, for we've all made a fool out of ourselves. How did I learn this? Is by making a fool of myself. Okay. So we're gonna now talk about some aspects of the sales cycle and how we can apply. Okay, it's been an hour and 30 minutes, really quick. You know what? Let me get a one in the chat if you guys want to hear the song again. I put a song down. I played a song called Battle Within. This one's not available yet. Not available, okay? Not available yet, but we can do a little musical intermission. I think the song is a little over 2 minutes. So let me get a one in the chat if you want to hear the song, for those of you just coming in new, or for those of you who would just like to hear Battle Within again. I see one from Short Copy. One. Okay.
On the shore, relentless in the war, the legions in our hearts, shed waters in our balls, the spirit and the flesh, the emotions that arrest, the cerebral will contest, propelling the unrest. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand, stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. With the semblance of a blaze, with gratitude and rage, we touch another page with delirious delight, impervious to light. This vitality and might encourages the flight. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand, stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. But the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within.
Yes. It's the battle within, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? Let's get a verse on the other one. This is one I played last time. Let's get a verse on this other one. This other one is called Run. I know Soul Provider Speaks likes this one. So let's go ahead and...
in the den of iniquity. Vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment. What's a pity? Tomorrow never certain. What draws behind the curtain? The face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble that either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble. Let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso. Cannon could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising and hearts are compromising. Conditions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest and the righteous in your corners. Go. Run, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling out your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. Run for the hills, let the will lead the mind. For living is the thrill with the doubt left behind. Amidst all the wicked, there is beauty to behold. We are fearless and intrepid from the depths of our soul. The hands of the steady cleave the rose from the thorn. The sweat of the weary brings us close to the dawn. The motion of the wheel brings the light to the mind. In the align, it's divine. Run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling on your daughters and your sons, they come forget it. I say, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling on your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. Run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it. Run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we can't forget it.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is we're going to go through a couple of phases of the sales cycle, if you will, prospecting, understanding the customer, and also closing. Closing is the most important part, and see how we can take some of these principles of simplicity, big claim and directness and image, and see how they fit within these different, and we're going to do it in a very simple way. Okay, now there are many books on sales, and also Grant Cardone is great on sales, and also The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. Think of him what you will, but he actually has good content on YouTube vis-a-vis sales. Okay, he's got great content on YouTube that talks about sales and what have you. So check out those two. So this is not supposed to be an exhaustive, obviously not. So far, all we've done is just kind of try to validate the hypothesis of simplicity. And while we go through this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and, all right, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. If there's anyone who has any particular questions, again, about the topic, which is relatively broad, it's about persuasion, okay? Persuasion, communication, right? Sales, okay? And it could be all the way from prospecting to closing, calling on the phone, in-person conversations, whatever it may be. And it could be from what you do in order to prepare, and so on and so forth. So while I talk about something, starting with prospecting, I'm just gonna live the I'm gonna drop that over there, and moderators, go ahead and please intermittently drop those links. So prospecting. Prospecting is the phase where you're trying to find out, basically, it's the top of the funnel, okay? And I've run out of space, and I like to keep things on one page, so I'll still stay with the one page, okay? I'm stopping with the labeling. I'm just going to be drawing things now. So there's a funnel, okay? At the bottom here is where you close, okay? That's the PO, that's the purchase order. That's where you get your money, okay? The top of the funnel is where you do marketing. And think of marketing as advertising, broadcasting. That's why the top of the funnel is the largest. You want to reach out to many, many, many people, okay? A small percentage of whom are potential clients. So prospecting is finding whom these potential clients are. When you're going after leads, to qualify the leads, to see if they are potential clients. A key thing in the prospecting phase, okay? A key thing in the prospecting phase is being direct, okay? What do I mean by that? A key thing in the prospecting phase is being direct in terms of all these different things that we've talked about. You don't want to talk too much. That's number one thing, okay? You want to keep things simple, and you don't want to talk too much. You don't want to talk about the features and the benefits of your, as a matter of fact, we're gonna use this as an example. Let's say you're going door to door and you're selling this water container. What do we call it? Let's just call it a water bottle. Okay, let's just call it a water bottle for simplicity. And it's made by Bubba, right? And you're a salesperson for Bubba, and you're going door to door. And what you're doing is you're prospecting. You're trying to find out if these are potential clients for your product. How does directness come into play in the prospecting phase? Because generally speaking, in the prospecting phase is not where you're making big claims. Okay, you're making big claims to people whom you know are potential customers, right? You're not making big claims at that point. You're not using your wrecking ball, and you're not even doing your simple slogans or talking, this simplicity in terms of sentence structure always applies to everything. Every communication, by the way, that you are engaging in, you want to make it pithy, short, simple. Simplicity is the key. So this first number one applies to everything, okay? Donald Trump's wrecking balls are also simple sentences too, right? So in this phase, you're trying to find out if somebody is a potential client. So what is your intention? Quite directly, okay, your intention is to see if this person is a potential client. So again, what I do before every meeting is I actually write down my intention statement so that I can say it and I can then repeat it over and over again throughout the conversation. It's very key that later on you say X, Y, Z, Y, A, B, C, and that's why I'm here to put these tools in your hands so you can begin to see these things. The wall, the tool, the trapeze, the conduits, the construction, this, that, price, this, it. And that's why I would like for you guys to get the picture. So in the prospecting phase, what could you tell a potential client, right? You don't want to start talking about how this thing, okay, let's talk about what you don't want to do. Okay. You don't want to come in here and start talking about the features and benefits. You don't want to come in here and start talking about how this thing is made from iron ore from the Himalayan and is smelted in this crazy foundry deep in the center of the earth, and and is forged by a Skeletor or something like that. Nobody gives a crap. Rarely does anybody ever give a crap about features and benefits, but that's another video. Okay, because again, what you're trying to do is get people's attention. Okay, and features and benefits, how do you know the one that's important to them? Things have an infinite number of features and some benefits. How do you know the one that's relatable? How do you know the one that's going to get their attention? So basically, you can say, hey, Mr. Customer, I'm just trying to find out if you're a potential customer for, oh, let's just put it in the simplest form. In other words, what you tell yourself, which is, I'm going out there to find out if they're a potential client. Hey, knock, knock, knock. I'm trying to find out if you're in the market for water bottles. I'm trying to find out if you're a potential client for water bottles. And then there's some questions you can ask, which are a flip side of finding out, right, what they are. Lead generation, as you say, Carl, right? So you can ask questions like, when was the last time, and this is a key one, when was the last time you bought a water bottle? When was the last time you considered buying a water bottle? Again, this has nothing to do with the fact that Bubba, this company, okay, is a family-owned company and they've been in business for 100 years and they put 80% of their profit back into research and development, and the owner donates whatever and adopts children from Africa. No, you don't want to say any of that. None of that matters. You want to be direct and to the point of as to what your intentions are, because there's a reason why you got out of your house, took a shower, put on clothes, and showed up at the door or called the person, or you're having this meeting about water bottles. So what is that intention? And you want to be, look, people are forgiving. The world is not so complicated that someone doesn't understand that if you tell them, I'm trying to see if you're a potential client for our water bottles. And they're like, okay, yeah. Simple. Okay. When was the last time you bought water bottles? Or how often do you buy water bottles? Or why did you buy water bottles? Are you looking to buy water bottles in the future? Questions surrounding the idea of their market behavior vis-a-vis water bottles. Okay. And we're not going deep in prospecting. We're just talking about how do we use these principles, okay? Simple, short sentences and questions, direct, okay, about your intentions, talking about water bottles, okay? And you can use images too. Like, well, can you remember the last time you bought a water bottle? Or what's the color? Or what are the colors of water bottles that something like that. When you say, can you remember the last time? Now you know that they're thinking, that you're in their head, right? Can you remember the last time that you purchased a water bottle? Yeah, that's a good question, right? And you're not talking about your water bottles. Shut up about your water bottles. Again, a general rule of mine is that your features and benefits are not so special. Okay? If it is in the way of getting their attention, then you don't want to do that. Okay? So that's in the prospecting phase. That's in the prospecting phase. Now, moving forward, you're talking about understanding the customer. Okay? Understanding the customer, which is the situation, the need, what the features and benefits of your product that are relevant to the customer are. And this is you thinking about these things in order to bring them out in a nice, clean sentence. In other words, you don't want to start talking about the fact that it is forged by Skeletor when you know he doesn't really care about that. And all he cares about is volume. He likes big volume cups, like myself. That's what I like in these water bottles. Okay. I don't care about your recycled plastics and your this and your that. Just give me a nice big cup, nice big sturdy cup. I'm good. So in the phase where you've generated a lead, this is a potential client, and now somebody else or you is in that meeting, that conversation, that phone call, and they're trying to get, okay, down to the bottom of what's going on with the customer. And again, I'm not trying to get into too much as to, the sales cycle and everything. I'm just trying to say, how do we use simple slogans, directness, big claim, images in these different aspects of it, okay? The big claim part starts to come in now when you know this is a potential client. Then you can begin to say things like, this has the most volume of any water cup while still being able to be handled. Hey, see this? I can throw it up and catch it. Okay, I can do flips with it. It's still easy. It's handleable, if that's a word. Okay, but it's got all this volume because you've had a conversation where you've asked them about when was the last time you bought a water bottle? What did you buy a water bottle for? What do you appreciate about the water bottle that you currently have? If you were to switch water bottles, why would you switch? When was the last time you switched water bottles? Okay. So now you know some idea that this guy likes big water bottles. Okay. And then you can start talking about your different brands of water bottle and how it's the best and the biggest and the brightest and it's very handleable and the keys, da, 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 da. Then you can get into the features and benefits and you can throw in a little bit of a big claim in there, right? That's when the big claim type stuff starts coming in. Okay. Now you notice that I've been using a lot of questions, and this is something that is basic to all kinds of sales. Okay. Too much information, exactly, Kwasi. Too much information. Break it into pieces. Perhaps we'll do because this stream here, which is already almost 2 hours, this stream here is just to validate the hypothesis that simplicity is the key. Perhaps we'll have another stream where people or where we can break down the sales process a little bit more, the sales cycle, and really get down. Because, for example, I made that video about tonality of voice, okay? And Jordan Belfort is particularly good in terms of the tonality thing. But what I was trying to make you guys understand is that you need to do voice exercises and you need to learn to breathe from your diaphragm and talk from your diaphragm, right? And the reasons why you want to do that is because you're going to get nervous and your neck is going to get tight. And you don't want to talk from your neck, right? Things like that. But also how to inflect your voice and how when you talk low, okay, it forces people to listen closer to you. And also they feel like you're letting them in on a secret. Right? And then also how when you inflect your voice up, it's a way of kind of it's this kind of it's a disarming thing. So after you make your big claim, maybe you're shouting off the top of the mountains with your big claim, and then you bring it down to kind of draw them in closer and say, hey, as a matter of fact, what's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is you only see 10% savings rather than the 50%. And then what you want to do for disarming is to pitch your voice up and say something like, fair enough. Sounds good. Okay. Right? I'm being a little comical or a cartoonish, I should say, but it shows the point. Voice, in other words, and how you do it and where you do it. But right now we're saying when you're prospecting, shut up about features and benefits for sure. When you're prospecting, directness of your intentions is the main thing. I'm just trying to see if you're in the market, if you're a potential client of mine. Are you a potential client of mine? When was the last time you bought water bottles? When was the last time you switched water bottles? Why did you switch? When was the last time you considered? Do you remember the last time that you bought the water bottles? Right? That kind of a thing. Okay? It is great information. We appreciate the information on the stream. Well, thank you very much, Kwasi. Okay, make the process a mini series and create a playlist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. These streams get out of hand. They go crazy. They go wild. I'm gonna need to at some point sit down, edit these, break it down, into little chunks, right? And put it out there. And perhaps tomorrow while I'm riding my bicycle, I'll be able to just kind of do a quick summary of the fact that simplicity, attention, persuasion, and then simple sentences, big claim, directness, and image. I should be able to weave something in there under 10 minutes while riding my bicycle tomorrow. So I may do a bicycle ride video on this that summarizes this one within 10 minutes. So we're trying to understand the customer, okay? We're telling them big claims. And as I said, we're asking questions, okay? What? Huh. So I was talking about questions, okay? I was talking about questions. In this phase where you're trying to understand the client and you're talking about features and benefits and so on and so forth, really, there is where you want to bring out the big claims and you want to ask questions that may be a little challenging. You could ask, okay, here's the boldest question. Here's a bold question. Ask the client, hey, do you believe me? Do you believe me? Or how much of what I just told you do you believe? Seriously, honestly, do you really believe? How much of what I just told you do you believe? Now that's master level stuff, and maybe you don't want to go there quite immediately, right? But you want to ask maybe a softer version of that, of like after you've told him certain features that you may have deemed relevant to him, you may want to ask, well, is this something that you would find useful? Is this something that would, or was this part of the reason why you bought your last water bottle? Is this something that you would find useful? Okay. And in this phase, since you're heading down towards the close now, is where you start to ask some other questions about objections. And I'm going to say something about objections. People don't want to tell you why they don't want to buy for various reasons, depending on their personality. One reason may be they think it's nicer if they don't tell you the truth. So they just say, okay, we'll think about it. Yeah, we'll think about it. And just that we haven't used it before or blah, blah, blah. They say all kinds of things. The real reason why they don't want to buy is about 3 levels deep, at least 3 questions deep. So you want to ask a question like, who else would it take to sign off on this decision? Or, and this is a kind of a decision maker question. You want to know if this is a decision maker. If this is a decision maker. So who else would you have to talk to? You know, maybe you're door to door selling Cutco knives, and you're talking to the husband, and you know that he's probably needs to talk to his wife, right? Or this foreman probably needs to talk to the superintendent, or the superintendent needs to talk to the project manager. The project manager needs to talk to the purchaser. Whatever it may be, different companies, different situations are different. But who else would you need to talk to, or would you need to consult regarding making this decision? Or the last time that you guys came up with this decision, who was involved? That's a good way to put it. The last time you bought cups, was that you and your wife that decided? The last time that you decided to switch software, accounting software, who was involved in that process, right? Because you're trying to corner them. You're trying to see, okay, if they're going to say, hey, I need to talk to somebody else, because that's one of the big things that people say is, you know what, it's all well and good, but I need to talk to somebody else. All right. The wife is usually the chief buying officer in the house. Yes, especially for those kinds of purchases. They be spending that money. So who's the decision maker vis-a-vis trying to cut the objections, trying to get to the objections, making sure you get to the real objection, because whatever objection that they tell you, you don't, there's 3 levels deep to the real objection, okay? Them just saying, okay, I got to talk to somebody else, maybe just them dismissing you, okay? Because you want to say, okay, so if your wife was here right now, what would she say? What are some of the kind of questions she would ask? Okay? Because if it's really about his wife, or if it's really about the purchasing manager or whatever, you can ask, well, the last time that you guys switched software, I mean, what were his concerns? If Carl, the purchasing manager, if Carl, the accountant, or if Carl, the end user, was here, what would he say? What would he think about this product? The nature of the answer they give you will tell you if that is a real objection or not. Because a big part, okay, of cutting down, okay, getting to the close is finding the real objection. The real objection is like the golden nugget you're looking for, okay? Because there's a whole bunch of BS that they tell you as to why they're not buying your stuff yet. What you're looking for is the real objection, and the objection is your friend. Don't run away from it. Don't say, oh, they were interested. They really liked the way I talk. They like my dog and pony show, my song and dance. But they told me, hey, yeah, they told me to follow up with them next week. I'm going to run away now. No. Tell them, well, I usually bring up objections. In other words, I say this. Besides the fact that you've never used this before, is there any other reason why you wouldn't buy this? Besides the fact that you've never used Bubba cups before, is there any other reason why you would not buy this cup? In other words, I brought up an objection. An objection is, I've never used you before, right? Or an objection is, it's not red, okay? Because somewhere in your conversation between prospecting and fact finding, I know he likes red cups. I say, besides the fact that it's not red, is there any other reason why you will not buy this beautiful blue bubble cup? So I'm cutting past one objection and I'm going to the next level of objection. And I make him think. And this is where they start to bring out some things like, yeah, you know what? Because the real objection may be because his cousin is the guy supplying, the cousin is the salesman for the competitor. That's why they use X software as opposed to your Acme software, right? That's why they use this kind of cup or that kind of pen. That's why they get supplies from this company as opposed to that, because of some kind of a relationship, because he doesn't know how to make the change within the company in order to do the purchasing. All those real things which they won't tell you, they'll just be like, hey, you know what? We need to think about it. We really like it. Let's just follow up with us. Oh, you know what? We're not thinking about buying right now. We'll buy next quarter. Before they say that, you want to preemptively bring up these objections. You want to preemptively say, besides the fact you've never used us before, why wouldn't you use this? And then when they give you a reason, say, besides that reason, okay, they say, okay, well, besides the fact we haven't used you before, we really, really would prefer to go with something that is on a subscription model as opposed to doing a yearly purchase. Don't stop there. Say, okay, besides the fact that mine is on a yearly purchase, is there any other reason why you wouldn't purchase this? Give me a one in the chat if you're beginning to understand the psychology of what I'm doing here. Give me a one in the chat if you're beginning to understand the psychology of what I'm chasing down here. You give me an objection, I accept it, which is what you should do. You should always acknowledge, don't push back. Don't say, oh, but 1 year is fine because we give you a discount. Get the hell out of here. Nobody cares about your silly $50 discount because I did the 1 year subscription. Nobody cares about that. The guy says, information I consider creating the course, really don't know how to handle objections like this. Just acknowledge it and move on is one of the things that I say until you're sure. Because a big part of getting to the close is finding the real objection. The real objection, just so you can then brush it away. Okay? Because when they give you all the BS objections like, oh, I need to talk to my wife, I need to talk to the purchasing manager, oh, we're going to be buying next quarter, oh, it's da, 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 da. Those are hard to brush away. Those are put-offs. They're just putting you off. People don't want to tell you the real objection because they know it gives you a lot of power. They don't want to feel vulnerable. But when you're direct with them, for example, when you ask them a question like, well, do you actually believe me, sir? Or how much of what I've told you do you believe? Or, well, have you seen enough to make a decision on this? Or what else would you need to see in order to make a decision? In other words, I may have a 1 hour presentation on bubble cups, but 10 minutes in, I could say, you know what, gentlemen, have you seen enough to make a decision on this? That's a challenging question. That's a question that'll lead them to be like, they'll be taken aback. Like, one big reason for asking this question is because you don't want to talk past the sale. Is because maybe 10 minutes in, they're already ready to buy. We've all gone into a store already ready to buy, right? We've already, for example, maybe this guy's already been thinking about cups weeks and weeks. Maybe he's been thinking about upgrading his accounting software from QuickBooks to something else for years. Maybe he's got a credit card in his pocket and that credit card is itching and he's just ready to buy. But now you're talking and talking and talking. So at some point, you need to be able to break down whatever your spiel is to just be like, have you seen enough to make a decision? This throws the ball in their court. It makes sure that you have their attention. It shakes them out of whatever dream state they're in, whatever's going on in their body and in the image in their head and the talk in their head. Now, they gotta be like, oh, okay, do I actually want to buy this? Why am I here? Who am I? What am I? What? Right? Now they're gonna tell you something true. They're gonna tell you something true. So where we were was drilling down to find the objections, and we're drilling down to find the objections because we want to close. And we can only close when we have the real objection. Not all objections can be objectively overcome. In other words, if at the end of the day, the real objection is that they really, really, really like subscription models, it may be impossible for you to overcome that, but doesn't mean you cannot close that deal. It may be impossible because your only model is to do the yearly thing. It may be impossible for you to get past that objection, but you want to drill, drill, drill until you get to that objection by asking 3 questions deep. First, they said, well, we've never used you guys before. You said, great. Besides the fact that you've never used us before, is there any other reason why you wouldn't buy this? In other words, you're trying to see where the product market fit is. Because if your stuff is shit and they don't believe you, they just be like, you know what? I don't really believe all this crap, and your product is crap. I would never buy this. Okay. 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 But if they say something like, well, we never used it before, okay, besides the fact that you've never used us before, what you're trying to lead them into, you're leading them to closing themselves, because buying is an emotional decision. If you've ever bought anything, you know it's an emotional decision. Otherwise, you'll just be paralyzed reading spreadsheets and looking at charts all day about the, you know, this car is more streamlined than that other one, but this one has the better braking pads, and this one has the 10 whatever APR, but no, it's not why you bought the car. It's not why you bought the car. That's not why people buy most things either. Even something as purely functional as accounting software. Accounting software. Even something as seemingly functional as accounting software. Okay? And we're winding this down because we're already past 2 hours, but we're whittling our way down to the close by asking these basic questions as to, well, besides the fact we've never used this before, why else would you not buy this purchase? This product. Well, you know what? I don't really like the fact that it's blue. Great. Valid reason. Well, besides, other than the fact that it's blue, is there any other reason why you would not consider buying this at some point or buying it right now? Well, I don't really like the prescription model. Oh, right. I really, really like to pay. I don't like the yearly model. I like the prescription model. Or you know what? My cousin is the salesman for the other company. Or when you get to the real objection, you'll know. So we're asking questions to see if they're a decision maker. Last time you made this kind of a purchase, who was involved? What was the process involved? This guy needs to make the decision. Well, if this guy was here right now, what would he say? What are the kind of things that he's concerned about? What's Carl, the decision maker? What's Carl, the end user? What's Carl, the purchasing manager? What are his concerns? What does Carl care about? If Carl was sitting right here next to you, you know Carl, right? You worked with Carl for over 3 years. What would he say? Would Carl believe me? Another question is, if you only believe, look, if only 10% of what I said was true, right? If only 10% of what I said is true, you know it's still worth it. Now, that's kind of the master level stuff. Those questions about, well, do you actually believe what I'm saying? That's master level stuff. That's when you know that you got your hypnosis game down, where you're shooting out spiritual freaking puppet strings at them and you got them dancing, okay? Then you can ask them questions like, do you actually believe what I'm saying, sir? Let me just ask you an honest question, sir. Do you believe what I'm telling you? Okay. But again, other ways to ask is, well, is this something that you will find useful? Or slightly harsh version of the do you believe me is, how much of what I said is believable? Or how much of what I said would you find useful? So on and so forth. So, but we're whittling down to the objections. And remember this question, remember this line of question. The objection is X, and you want to bring it up. You want to bring up an objection, okay? Because you already know certain of the shortcomings because you've already done your work. The client was prospected, was qualified, the leads were generated, blah, blah, blah. You've had a conversation about them to understand the situation and the need, okay? And then you know your particular shortcoming. And maybe as one shortcoming always is they've never used you before. So you can start there and you can say, besides the fact that you've never used us before, would there be any reason why you wouldn't use this? This is you now going down the objection path. It's an objection hunt. Closing is an objection hunt. You want to find the nugget of the objection so you can then just blow it away. Because if you find the objection, if you're able to guide the conversation to that point, you cannot always close, but if you're able to guide the conversation to that point, there is a high chance that the objection is something you could just simply be like, blow it away. You may not be able to overcome it and give them a monthly subscription. But if you're able to go, they say it's X. You say, well, besides X, is there any other reason? Well, there's A and B. Well, besides A and B, is there any other reason? And you keep on just going down and then you find the real nugget. And then you go back to your big claim, right? And say, but look, sir, I know it's blue. Yes, completely, 100%. I know that. And blue is not the last cup that you bought. Okay. But we've demonstrated that there is no other reason besides the fact that it's blue why you would not want to have a cup of this size with these ergonomics that is blah, 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 whatever it is that was relevant to him, right? And he's going to feel a little silly about the fact that he's not going to buy this great cup just because it's blue. Buying is an emotional decision. When you get people down to their real objection, all you need to do is compare that objection with all the benefits in order to try to make him feel silly. Like, bro, yeah, it's blue. Yeah, it's a yearly subscription. Yeah, but we also just had this whole conversation, right? And that's how you go back to the image of that room. For example, with the electrician I was talking about. We had the conversation about you putting up the trapeze on a ladder, or you building that wall on the freeway, or you putting up the antenna on the top of a skyscraper. Again, with that image aspect of things, okay? You have an image and you go back to that image and you say, you don't want to make your life easier along that wall on the freeway because it's a yearly subscription. This really increases your chances at closing, and you make sure that you're not wasting your time in terms of fake objections, because fake objections are the thing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up, okay? We are going to wrap this up. Wow, I think, let me see, how many people are in the chat today? I'm going to go and look at the chat and also see if there's anything that I can read in there. Yes, I will try to clip this up and also do some more videos that are directly related to sales, okay? And meanwhile, don't forget to hit up the Cash App, all right? Don't forget to hit up that Cash App. And don't forget to check out the music on SoundCloud, on Spotify, working on a new album. The gems that I dropped today are not available yet. The gems that I dropped today are not available yet, okay? But go ahead and check them. Now, to close, okay? To close. All right. And Raphael Williams, I'm going to post. This is going to be posted right after. So you say you're late, but I'm going to post this so you can go and check it. Simplicity is the master key. The master key to all persuasion, all kinds of communication, all kinds of influencing, sales, conflict resolution, so on and so forth. Simplicity. We said, we kind of already know this, that these people trying to get our attention, be they politicians or people in marketing in the commercial sphere, use simple slogans to get our attention. Attention and persuasion are one and the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, don't think that they're different. Ladies and gentlemen, don't think that you have to put a gun to somebody's head. As a matter of fact, putting a gun to somebody's head is just a good way of getting, okay? Just a good way of getting their attention. So, simplicity gets their attention. Whom are you competing with for their attention? You're not competing with your competitor. I'm not competing with Acme water bottle makers when I try to sell the water bottle. What I'm competing with is Facebook, Fox News, his wife, Instagram, his bad back, his prostate cancer. I'm competing with everything that occupies real estate in his subjective consciousness. This helps you understand who your competitor is. Your competitor is not the other salesperson. Your competitor is everything that occupies real estate within his subjective consciousness. Within the realm of feeling, image, and talk, that's your competitor. That's why number 4 here, which is the image thing, you want to be able to put an image in their head, preferably an image that they come up with. You want to be able to use your words to create an image in their head, because now you're in their head and you're getting their attention. We talk about simple slogans because they're simple, they're repeatable, they're witty. Brevity is the soul of wit, so on and so forth, right? Want to get away with Southwest, or I'm loving it with McDonald's, hope and change, make America great again. Simple, repeatable, pounded into their heads, right? That kind of simplicity, easy to understand. It's like a sharp knife that cuts through the feeling, image, and talk trifecta, which constitutes all of our subjective consciousness. He has a feeling in his body, he has images in his head, and he has talk in his head. That's your competition. Your competition is not the other guy selling stuff. Your competition is real estate, or the other things, shall I say, that's occupying the real estate within his space of subjective consciousness. So we talked about the wrecking ball. The wrecking ball is simple, big claim, it's huge, it's the best, it's tremendous, right? That's the big claim way. We said if simple slogans are a knife, that big claim are like a wrecking ball. Boom, get their attention. How else can you get their attention vis-a-vis simplicity? Direct. Direct is more simple than indirect, hence gets their attention. A note on direct is you state your intentions, but you let them know you're not telling them what to do. There's a big difference between here is what my motivations are and here's the outcomes that I want versus here's what you should do. It's not your job to buy. It's not your job to give me your number. It's not your job to give me my outcomes, but here are the outcomes I want, clearly stated. I want to get you to buy these cups. I want to put these tools in your hand so you can begin to make better installations in your next project. I want to save you on your accounting process by using my accounting software. I want to streamline your customer relations with my new CRM software. That is my intention. And it's my responsibility. It's my job to sell. It's not your responsibility. It's my responsibility to see everything through and have this conversation with you, right? So that's the directness. And then number 4, we talked about image, which we already touched upon before. So we're going to wrap this up. We're going to play. So I'm going to ask the chat, which song should we end this on? Ladies and gentlemen, which song should we end this on or with? Should we end it with Run or should we end it with Battle Within? The choice is yours, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to end the stream. Thank you for showing up. Okay, simplicity is the key, the master key to all persuasion. Okay, all of persuasion. So let me know if we want to end it with Run or Battle Within. Run or Battle Within. I will make a decision if, okay, Battle Within says call black and short copy. Yeah, you guys are feeling that high energy, ready to get the weekend going pump. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This will be posted right after, and we're gonna go out. And remember, simplicity is key. Before any meeting, before any interview, before any kind of conflict resolution, maybe with your spouse, so on and so forth, ask yourself, how do I get their attention? By stating my intentions fairly clearly, making it clear that these are my intentions and my goals, but it's not necessarily me telling them what they should do. Using words that have images in them so that you can capture their imagination, elicit the participation of their imagination in this communication, okay? And so that you can constantly refer back to that image as the conversation goes on. Simplicity, simple, simple, simple. If you're scared, you usually would say things like, I don't need to prepare, okay? I don't need to prepare. Anyways, salute.
On the shore, relentless in the war, the legions in our hearts, shed waters in our voice, the spirit and the flesh, the emotions that arrest, the cerebral will contest, propelling the unrest. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand, stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. With the semblance of a blaze, with gratitude and rage, we touch another page with delirious delight, impervious to light. This vitality and might encourages the flight. Preachers and bandits with means underhanded, the teachers pedantic and lack understanding. So sweep out the sand with the broom in your hand, stand up, make we burn Babylon. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Guess I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demons searching. The spirit and the women fight the battle within. Frequent dignity, internal conversation. the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the wind will fight the battle within. Cause I can give the world to you, but the falling of the curtain is for certain. Be careful where you're lurking, demon searching. The spirit and the wind will fight the battle within.